Hi there, happy weekend, and it's almost month end, so we also say happy month end to those of you who are always keen on this television station. This is Divine Mercy Radio Television, DMR TV, coming your way live from the Catholic Diocese of Boya. We are always glad to have you join us from here where we share the light of hope. So we are glad to have you join us in this other edition of our weekend news magazine program, 7 Days in Focus, where we take a retrospective look at stories that were topical here on JMR TV. We give you just more than what you had in the news, give you some basic analysis into the stories to reshape your understanding on the issues that we had on our news. So this edition is going to be one other which we are going to have some fruitful discussion, and we're inviting you, those of you who are not able to follow our newscast, most especially within the week, you might be able to have one or two happenings here on the news that you'll be informed, really informed. Okay, so you're welcome. Tonight my name is Jude Mbako Munyo. I'm the host here. We have Reverend Father Alphonse Wangibe, who is a priest of the Diocese of Boya and equally a staff here at DMR TV. Both of us are going to be looking through these stories and giving you an inside perspective. Father, by the way, you're welcome and happy weekend.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Happy weekend equally to you, and good evening to you, dear viewers. And welcome to this 7 Days in Focus, where we'll be deliberating on key stories that made news in the course of the week.
Yes, Father, I think it's been a while that we've not we've not been on the
yes,
platform.
That's true. Initially we started this
Yes.
7 Days in Focus for about 3 months or so.
Yes.
Then after a while, then we separated.
There was some reshufflement.
Exactly.
All right, so it's a big pleasure to have you this evening. All right, so within the week we had so many happenings, and this evening we cannot take all because of time, but we think that those we are going to be touching are going to be the most crucial issues that happened within the week. So by now, everyone who is versed with DMR TV and the Diocese of Boya would have understood that every Monday it's a tradition, it's a culture, a spiritual culture within our diocese, that every Monday we have a kind of how do you say call it? I don't want to use the word catechism. I wanted a word that is more palatable to the ordinary person, kind of a teaching,
Doctrine, yes.
A doctrine.
Yes.
Thank you, Father. A doctrine. This is a doctrine that keeps our Christians and followers on DMR TV very much aware of the things that are happening in the diocese or the teachings of the church and all the like. So every Monday with His Lordship Michael Bibi, we have what the program known as Know Your Faith. Sometimes it's rotatory, sometimes it's static. But this time it's been static for a while. This Monday it was at St. Charles Luanga Parish in Moliko, and it's been there for the whole of this month.
For this month.
Yes, so His Lordship Michael Bibi, I think some months he was able to make it, other months Father Martin J. Moka was able to sit in for him. We are within the context of the Lenten season, and last week there was the teaching was focused on almsgiving within the Lenten season. And I'm sure that those of you who are very adherent to the Lenten practices will be able to understand how much important it is to give alms within this season. Let us take you back to our missions to meet Reverend Father Roderick Yang Sishim and see what he had for us last Monday.
One of the criticisms of Christianity in African societies today is the misconception and poor understanding of the notion of giving. Alms giving, tithe giving, and donations in the church. Many men of God turn to abuse this sacred act and thus scare many away from the church.
My Lord, sometimes we get the opinion or think that the act of almsgiving is a kind of brainwashing that priests and pastors use to extort from Christians. And you see a Christian in business struggling to take all the money in business just to come and give it to church. And that person becomes useless to herself and to her family.
Proper to have to go and donate to an organization, whereas you have relatives neighbors who do not have.
To give alms without doing the right thing. For example, I'm owing my landlord for 2 months. I come to church, harvest Thanksgiving, and come and launch the harvest fest. 500,000.
This is why His Lordship's focus on almsgiving is very timely, especially during this Lent, as almsgiving, together with prayer and fasting, form the tripod of Lenten observances.
Almsgiving is important in the life of a Christian, especially within the Lenten period. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ not only giving material things, not only giving His time to people, but we see Him giving His very life in order to die upon the altar of the cross.
Intentionality in almsgiving is very important. Your motive defines your act of almsgiving. It makes almsgiving effective.
What is your intention? Is your intention to attract public notice? Is your intention for everyone to see that you are doing good? Is your intention to show how generous you are?
Worth noting is the fact that this teaching is the bishop's first time to come live on this program since he came back from the tragic Eucadoma accident. His Christians equally expressed their sentiments on having the bishop once more with them.
I'm really happy to see the bishop again up on his feet, and I continue to pray hard that our good Lord may continue to give him the strength to do his work as he's doing. He has always been giving us this doctrine. But when I heard that he had that accident, I said, whoa, my God. So we'll be missing our shepherd for some time. But God's ways are not our ways.
We want to thank God for saving his life. And we know that God did it for a purpose, to show us that he is with us. Because the accident was really something that everybody was frightened, but we saw God's hand.
We thank God for saving the bishop's life from the accident, and we are happy for having him in our parish.
Departing from the scene, joy filled the atmosphere as they rejoiced with their shepherd, a simple, a humble, and an available bishop. All hope to come back next week for another session at St. Charles Lwanga Parish, Moliko.
Good images there, a wonderful report there from Father Roger Gyan's session. Now, like we did indicate earlier, this catechesis comes up every Monday from 10:30 to midday on GMR TV, and it's been running for, I think, about this more than 2 years today that the bishop has been fervent. Even when he's not there, like you heard in the report, some other person will definitely be there. And the intention just to ensure that the Catholic Christians in the diocese and viewers of them out there are able to have a hold of their faith and have to build up their spirituality. Now, Father, we've come this far in Lent. We've touched other areas as far as Lenten season is concerned, but this particular one was focusing on almsgiving. And yes, the bishop explained more there. But then maybe you want to do a quick summary. You equally was the host for this edition. Maybe you want to give us a quick summary on how relevant, how important is it to have to give alms within the season of Lent?
I think almsgiving is some sort of like the fruit of our prayer and our fasting. If we pray and we fast, it should lead us to action. That is almsgiving. And so almsgiving is some sort of an expression of trust in God's provision and demonstration of love towards others, wherein we see people willingly sacrificing what they cherish, what they hold as dear in their hearts, to reach out to one or two persons so as to put a smile in their faces at the end of this season. So it's not some sort of giving what I don't want anymore. Let's say with my clothes that I don't even use anymore, and then I reach out in charity. That's not charity or almsgiving. Pope Francis says almsgiving, when we give, it should be, if it has not yet if it does not hurt, then I have not started giving. So that is in that case where we see almsgiving as the fruit of our prayer and our fasting, so much so that it is some sort of faith in action. It is an act of faith in itself to reach out to the poor and the needy. And you look at that, for me, I think it's very, very key. That is why on the fifth Sunday of Lent, we as a church, we shall come out from what we have been praying and fasting on to hand to the church on Sunday, the fifth Sunday of Lent, whether with that collection, so that the church at the diocesan level through Caritas can reach out to the poor and needy as an act of faith also, and some sort of solidarity, compassion and love for those who are truly in need, because the church can easily identify this person. So for me, it is a practice that it is worth living it out as a Lenten person. Let's not just say we'll pray and we'll end there, or we fast and we'll end there. No, our prayer and our fasting should lead us to reach out to people in almsgiving. Christ himself was very categorical about that in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 6, where he told from verse 1 to verse 18, it's a whole discourse, that when you pray, do not babble as the scribes will do. When you fast, do not put on a gloomy look. People must not know you're praying. People must not know you're fasting. Pray in the secret of your room. Fast, and nobody will know. Do not go trumpeting it out. And when it came to almsgiving, he said, when you give, let your left hand not know what your right hand is giving. Because you cannot go and be trumpeting it out around. Then you have already had your reward, as Christ will say. And that's why the bishop, during that session, which he said, yes, I was the host, he did insist on the intention of giving. Some people give not because they want to give, because they want to be honored. They want to say that, yes, I am the one who did this, or they give for the wrong intention. So the intention is key in reaching out in almsgiving. And that's why I always use this, I don't know if it's a clown also, some sort of, yes, I'll put it that way, that during Thanksgiving and harvest, perhaps in some parishes also, if indeed we are reaching out in almsgiving, in charity, let me not call it almsgiving, charity is still almsgiving, even for our harvest to be good. If, for instance, they were to say that, okay, they'll no longer call the name of anybody. Anything you give, we'll just take and put, but without calling the name. Are you really sure some people still come and give 100,000, 500,000, 1 million? If you can still give when your name is not being called, then that is indeed what Christ is telling us, to reach out in almsgiving, but not trumpeting it out.
But Father, when you say give within this spirit, many people are looking towards the direction of the church, the offering basket in church, the almsgiving. Do we really have a defined context?
Yes, the giving here is not only material something. Giving, yes, you can give material possessions to people, from the point of view that my neighbor in the house, in my neighborhood, somebody who is really in need, I reach out, I go to prison, orphanages. But beginning at home, charity begins at home. That is the first thing, material things. Another dimension is we sacrifice our energy and our time just to reach out, to sacrifice, to listen to somebody, or to do something for someone, which must not necessarily be material possession. Our energy and time can be sacrificial. That is some sort of giving also of ourselves. And the greatest of it is Christ Jesus, who did not just give things throughout his public ministry, but gave what they call self-donation, emptying himself, his own very life. And it's the greatest giving. And will I say, the theologian Balthasar will call it self-donation or self-revelation, why Karina called it self-communication. Christ emptied himself by giving his own very life. That is the highest gift of all. We may give this, give our time. Do we really give our lives? At times, yes, some have given their lives. They call them princes of the church, martyrdom and so, but there are very few. It seems it's very challenging to be able to go to that extent to give your life. So those are the various forms of almsgiving, material things, not just to the church. The church on is just a fifth Sunday of Lent, which is this one that is after this Sunday, the next Sunday. But to reach out to the poor and the needy, which those we found around us each and every day, we would think we can give a helping hand to them. It will be so wonderful. Then the church dimension is the communitarian dimension, because we are a community, so that the church also at its own level may be capable of reaching out to those who are also in need. So you give of your money, you give of material things, you give of your
Your
energy, your
energy.
time just listening to somebody, and more so your very self. When you sacrifice yourself for the church, sacrifice yourself for your brother or sister who is in need, perhaps an old mama that wants to do something, you go and help that mama and do that thing. That is alms giving. You are giving your energy and time to that mama. So those are the various types of donations or giving which we have.
Okay, which means if you're doing that properly and you couple it with your prayers and your
Perfect.
and your
Fasting.
fasting, you're definitely observing Lent in the way it should be.
Yeah, those are the 3 pillars of Lent. If you observe 2, you may. No, there's a tripod. They have cameras said there's a tripod. In the report, Father spoke about the tripod of Lent because he's speaking as a journalist. They have tripods that hold cameras. If your one leg gets broken,
3 leg.
If one of the legs gets broken, it may not stand.
Yes.
So these are the 3 pillars that helps us to stand throughout these 40 days where we envisage to celebrate the Paschal mystery come Easter.
All right, we already have gone the Lenten season. Definitely, we are. I think those who have been struggling with the Lenten observances, at least they should just be patient a bit, because we are soon getting to. At one point, somebody quoted me that I should not eat meat on Friday, and then I remember that this is Lent. So the practices are there that when you follow the catechisms and the teachings of His Lordship Michael Bibi, like even almost all your prayers in your churches, in your parishes, you're definitely going to have these basic teachings that you need for this season. Well, next week, not next week, yes, but next week, few days, 2 days or so, we are going to have another session, and this time is going to focus on Holy Week celebration. I'm sure His Lordship has a package too for us, and we are calling on our viewers not to miss next week's edition. You definitely have been seeing the promo here on DMR TV. Holy Week celebration is a topic we're going to take on Monday. All right, Father, let's. But I wanted to add that people who are very far off cannot watch. They can always listen to the radio too.
Exactly.
Yes, because our radio is always relaying the signals as well.
97.1.
97.1 in Boya and 91.5 in Limbe.
Yes.
All right. So within the end of last week, we equally have men of the CMA who have been in the association for a long time, but they actually had their certification into the School of St. Joseph. And we learned that 109 of them were initiated into that. Dedicated. Yes. So they are full-fledged members of the CMA, and that took place last weekend and was officiated by the Bishop of Boya, His Lordship Michael Bibi, the Chief Shepherd. Now let us meet Aloysius Leke, who was at the Secretariat of the CMA just around the Co-Cathedral in Moliko, where this took place, with details in this report.
My chosen one, in whom my soul delights.
Celebrating the solemnity of St. Joseph and the 75th anniversary of the Diocese of Boya, the Catholic Men Association of the Diocese of Boya have successfully witnessed, together with family and friends, the dedication of 109 new members to the association after undergoing a formative period of over 1 year, 6 months into the School of St. Joseph.
I want to say that before we arrive at this stage, they had to undergo 3 different evaluations. There were the evaluation towards the rights of election, there is an evaluation towards the rights of promise, and the final evaluation towards the rights of dedication. They have successfully gone through 1 year, 6 months for this process. And I think I am very much satisfied from the response of my facilitators and the diocesan chaplain.
Delighted and joyful to be part of the lucky ones out of the 149 who started the training in the School of St. Joseph, the men with all their hearts before the bishop took their vows to be committed to the teachings and values of St. Joseph.
Today is a day that I feel very fulfilled. After entering the St. Joseph School for close to 2 years, and values of the CMA, that of justice, that of obedience, that of service, that of excellence, peace, and honesty. And knowing that our role like CMA, Catholic Men's Association, is to serve God, to serve the church, and to serve the community.
And it has not really been an easy journey. I'm so very happy From the Deanery of Peace, we're 9 of us, but unfortunately just 6 of us have been dedicated. And I pray that those our brothers who have not been dedicated today, they should look into their issue and see that they too can be dedicated. I feel very happy and very proud wearing the national uniform.
Aware of how tedious the formative and drilling period has been, the men are left with gratitude for those who have sacrificed their all to enable them get to the level where they find themselves.
People have teaching us, have been doing us well. We call them facilitators. They have been doing us well, and we pray that all what they have given to us as lesson, we pray that we put them into practice.
The school of St. Joseph is a very good school. I'm a small boy, so I'm calling all those who are still skeptical of joining the school of St. Joseph, that St. Joseph is not only for old men. Now like these younger people are coming. So I'm begging them to come and join so that together the young people can bring up St. Joseph.
As they become full members of the Catholic Men Association, they are reminded by His Lordship Michael Bibi to be true bearers of the virtues of St. Joseph.
That as a man of honor, the men of the Catholic Men Association should also be men of honor, should be men of integrity, should be men of faith, should be men who are obedient, should be humble men who are ready to render services first in their families and in the church.
Marking a significant journey in their spiritual life, the words which resounds to them all the more is to be truly other Josephs where they find themselves.
Now, out of that dedication there, we stay with the local ordinary Boya, who on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025, celebrated 8 years of his episcopal ordination. He was ordained on Saturday, March 25, 2017 by the Emeritus Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Bamenda, His Grace Cornelius Esra, Fontaine Esra, right? Okay, so in this report with Yannick Fonke, he tells us that His Lordship Michael Bibi, his journey has been marked with plenty of resilience and transformative leadership. Let's get details with Yannick Fonke.
Michael received this ring, the seal of fidelity, defied faith, preserved unblemished, the bride of God, the Holy Church.
It was a defining moment, March 25, 2017, when the Most Reverend Michael Bibi was elevated from a Reverend Father to a Bishop. The sacred ordination took place at St. Joseph's Metropolitan Cathedral, Big Manka, in the presence of bishops, priests, religious, and a multitude of the Christian faithful.
My turn. And may the splendor of holiness shine forth in you, so that when the chief shepherd appears, you may deserve to receive from him an unfolding of glory.
That day, Monsignor Michael Bibi answered the divine call to shepherd God's people. His episcopal journey began as an auxiliary bishop in the Archdiocese of Bamenda, not until December 29, 2017, when he was entrusted with a great mission to serve as an apostolic administrator in the Diocese of Boya. In 2021, he was officially installed as the 5th residential bishop of the Diocese of Boya, a role he continues to fulfill with unwavering dedication.
With the present letter, I authorize the Right Reverend Michael Bibi, appointed Bishop of the Diocese of Boya, to take canonical possession of the diocese with all canonical effects.
8 years down the lane, Bishop Michael Bibi's leadership has been defined by spiritual transformation, pastoral expansion, and human development. His tenure has seen remarkable progress in fostering faith, strengthening Christian values, and advancing social impact. Despite challenges, his resilience remains unshaken, With the unwavering support of his clergy and faithful, Bishop Michael Bibi has turned obstacles into opportunities, leaving an indelible mark on the Diocese of Buea and even beyond. This is Bishop Michael Bibi, a shepherd called by God, a leader committed to change, and a servant whose mission knows no bounds. As he celebrates 8 years of episcopal ministry, Bishop Michael Bibi stands even more motivated and determined to leave a lasting legacy. His journey continues, transforming the ordinary into extraordinary, all for the greater glory of God. Happy 8th Episcopal Anniversary, my Lord.
And indeed, 8 years already. Father, these are 8 years of His Lordship Michael Bibi. I remember somewhere some people were debating whether it is already 8 years or it is when he took canonical possession. But then it is 8 years as a bishop.
Yeah.
He started in Bamenda and he's been with us here for 5 years or so. Now, so maybe you have 1 or 2 words on that.
You know, when it comes to talking about bishops like this, it's very difficult because we don't. We talk from our experiences as priests. If it's a priestly anniversary, you can say yes, this and that. But the life of the bishop, we don't know how
it feels to be a bishop.
Bishop can easily talk about their lives as bishops. So just to tell him that courage throughout these 8 years is not easy. And his motto is what keeps pushing him on, that consecrate them in the truth. That you should keep looking at the truth, who is a person, not a concept. That is Jesus Christ, the truth. As spells out in John 14:6. Christ is the truth, and only the truth can set us free. So I wish to say congratulations to him for the 8 years. I don't know how it is, as I rightly said. Perhaps when we celebrate his 25th anniversary as a priest, that one I can talk because at least I have 3 years in the priesthood. I know a little about priestly life.
You don't know episcopal life.
Episcopal life is the 3rd degree or the highest degree in ordination. So just to tell him that courage in his work, and he should keep on looking at that truth, which is Christ. We can pave the way for him to the very end. Courage, my Lord, as you continue to shepherd the people in this local church here in Buea.
Right. So we are all keeping our eyes fixed to, I think, is it? No, the priestly anniversary is in April, but I think the celebrations will be coming later.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
So
after the 75th anniversary celebration in May 7, then
yes,
that will be organized.
25 years of priesthood.
Yes. And that's also a milestone.
It's a milestone. And 8 years as a bishop, I think it's worth celebrating. And I think as a diocese, we'll keep celebrating our bishop. All right. We don't have too much time. I want us to look into some of the activities he had this week. One of which is the visit of the CMA that we just watched. The executive members of the Catholic Men Association of the Diocese of Buea paid him a visit. That was yesterday at his small support residence. And other groups came along, but I want us to start with the CMA that visited the bishop yesterday. They came to also give their encouragement to him for the way he runs the diocese, his ministry here in the diocese. So let's get to the machines and meet Aloysius Leke once more. All right, we'll definitely be coming to that CMA visit yesterday. And just to indicate that the bishop also had other groups that he had to welcome yesterday. Amongst them, some priests who have their anniversary coming up. We also have a group from Zibanda, the Pastoral Council there, and the PTA group from CKC in Tico. But let's begin with the CMA.
Of the Catholic Men Association Diocese of Buea, led by their president, Mr. Nga Eric, visits the Bishop of Buea, Bishop Michael Bibi, 1 month after his accident en route to the ordination of a brother bishop. The members, amongst other things, discuss the activities of the association and upcoming events while thanking the bishop for his close support and collaboration. Mr. Nga Eric says the session with the chief shepherd was engaging and they will continue to pray and support the bishop.
The visit of today is a routine visit which we usually come at the start of the year, at least to receive episcopal blessings and to also have directives from the bishop on how to carry out our activities throughout the year. We are coming this late actually, but I think so far we have presented our worries, and we have also received advice from the Bishop of today for today's activities. We are coming to in where we have had a very sad situation where we have equally sympathized with the bishop, because first of all, one of the challenges he had during the road of Yokaduma, the accident he had, and the loss of Reverend Father Nicholas Happy, I think it is something that it has touched us very much, and we think that it is necessary for us to come and sympathize with the bishop. This visit also has come to thank the bishop. We have come to give thanks to the bishop for his support and collaboration that he has been giving to the Catholic Men Association.
These CMA members, after communion with their father, says it was a day well spent and appreciates the bishop for all his support.
The visit today with the bishop was a timely one because it was a positive meeting with him. We, as the president earlier said, the intention was to collaborate with him, to appreciate him, but it went further to also sympathize with him. So we feel that it was a positive.
Very, very happy that the bishop recognizes our participation in the church. The bishop did congratulate us for the National Secretariat, which we did use for the triple event of celebration of the 75th anniversary, the dedication of some of our members, and the celebration of St. Joseph's Feast Day. He told us that he was very, very happy and urged us to continue in the same line.
The fathers of the church, just like the mothers and other apostolic and action groups of the church, keep taking turns to check on, pray with, and share ideas with the chief shepherd for the good of the Diocese of Buea. Priest of the 2019 batch of paid a courtesy visit to their father, the Bishop of Buea, Bishop Michael Bibi, to salute the bishop after his accident that occurred a month ago, and also to enlighten the bishop on their upcoming provincial class meeting that is to take place come May 2025 here in Buea. The priest had a fruitful session with the bishop, as the class president, Father Elvis Tambe, tells us.
Our class today, the class of 2019, came to see the bishop for two reasons. The first reason we came to see the bishop is that we, the class of 2019, will be receiving the other brothers from the province, that is from Kumbu, Bamenda, Manfe, Kumba, and Buea. We will be meeting for our class meeting from the 7th to the 9th of May 2025. So we deemed it necessary to come and see the bishop and update him on the program. And the second thing we came was to greet him after the incident of the accident. Today makes exactly 1 month after the accident, so for us it was very, very significant that we come here to greet him for that.
Father Desmond Asangacha says the encounter with the bishop as a class and as priest of the Diocese of Buea was a warm moment between brothers and their father.
When we met the bishop with what we came to meet him for, he was very calm and also very fatherly in his approach. And I believe that we are living here. You can see we are satisfied and we are happy because our hearts were heavy. But with his fatherly touch and approach, we think we have been energized to go back and fulfill our task that we had to fulfill as priests of this class and this batch. So we thank him very much for being that father to us, and we thank him for being a brother, most especially. He always used the term brother. So we thank him for being a brother to us.
Meanwhile, parishioners from St. Jude Parish, My 14 Dibanda, paid a visit to the bishop to first condole with him over the loss of his priest, Reverend Father Happy Nicholas, and also to discuss on a number of important issues concerning the parish. Mr. Tilbert G is the chairperson of the St. Jude My 14 Dibanda.
Came here to see the bishop on a couple of issues concerning the parish. First, on his pastoral visitation this year to the parish, which is slated in April, in 2 weeks' time, and to also see him on the ongoing projects within the parish. And we also came to visit him and request for a date for fundraising to complete the purchase or the payment for the land beside the church in Dibanda. But we also discussed about the structure of the nursery and primary school at the parish, which has given us quite some advice on all of that.
Also today at the Bishop's House, in the same light, executive members of the Parents Teacher Association PTA of Christ the King College TICO presented themselves to the Bishop of Buea and discussed on some ongoing projects of the college. The PTA chair says they are leaving fulfilled with the deliberations.
We came to greet the bishop after we learned he had an accident. It was important that we at least visit him, and then equally present ourselves because he had not met us before. We equally were able to outline to him some of the projects we have been able to realize at CKC. We have been able to place funds in all the classrooms, which was not there before, and we have equally permitted the administration, the sister and her administration, to be able to communicate by implementing an intercom system for internal calls, so they could actually call each other from whatever point. So I think this visit was really important to us because we have never met the bishop before. This is our first time of meeting him in person.
In all, it was a busy day at the Bishop's House, Sumosopo, as he sits through meetings, listening, praying, thanking, and guiding all who came to see him.
Quite a busy day for the local ordinary. You just had the father from CMA to the 2019 batch of priests from St. Thomas Aquinas.
No, the batch, the year they were ordained.
The year they were ordained?
Yes, that's the year they were ordained.
All right. Then we equally have the PTA team from CKC.
Exactly.
And equally the Parish Pastoral Council of Dibanda.
My 40.
I mean, it's not easy. It was a hectic day, I must say.
Yes, we say if a Friday like this, I don't know, means that the bishop was on a hot seat yesterday. How can you receive those many people? That you see someone who is available, who spends his time sitting on the chair to listen to people and to respond to their preoccupation. I see that there were really many. I was laughing when the reports were going on, and I was asking if all of this happened in one day. And he said yes. So I always say that it's energy consuming. By the way,
it is
to listen to people and listen to their preoccupation. People dash there all the time with problems. That said that we are in small parishes there, like now I'm the chaplain. You have few Christians come to you, there's small worries there, and you say that you're exhausted. This one is the bishop now. Imagine now the events that the programs of the whole diocese involving priests, lay people, and the rest. See that it's a difficult task, a challenging one, and just to say that anyway, you should keep receiving the people because that is a shepherd who smells as the sheep. In the word of Pope Francis in Evangelii Gaudium, that every true shepherding entails smelling as the sheep, and one of the tendencies of a good shepherd to smell as a sheep is being with them and listening to them. So I think it's praiseworthy, but just that is energy consuming too. So
that's why he's a bishop.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really truly energy consuming. Now, yesterday was Friday that he received those, but I think before Friday it was a turn of the moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, who came by to just present himself too, because since on the 16th of March that he was instituted, the bishop was not around due to ill health. So I think when the bishop came, he too said, okay, it's good to come by and see the bishop and say Asha. So it was earlier this week that Reverend Mickey Hans, Right Reverend Mickey Hans Abia, the new leader of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, came by at small support still to see the bishop and console him with all what is happening, especially with his health, with the accident he had. Let's have details in this report.
At the sunset of Wednesday, March 26, 2025, in a show of Christian charity and solidarity, the newly elected moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, PCC, the Very Reverend Mickey Hans Abia, along with some close collaborators, have paid a courtesy visit to the Bishop of Buea, His Lordship Michael Bibi, at his residence at Small Support. The timely visit comes after Bishop Michael Bibi was recently involved in a road accident en route Yukaduma, as well to present to him the new head of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon following his recent induction and takeover from the former moderator Right Reverend Funky Samuel Foba, where the bishop was unavoidably absent. Receiving these august guests was a warm and cordial atmosphere which demonstrates the strong interfaith relations between the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon and the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Buea. In the course of the visit, Right Reverend Mickey Hans used the opportunity on behalf of the entire Presbyterian Church to convey his heartfelt sympathies and prayerful wishes to Bishop Michael Bibi. As a response to these acts of love shown him, Bishop Michael Bibi expressed his sincere appreciation for the visit and the outpouring of support from the Presbyterian community. Engaging into very salient and heart-to-heart conversations, the visit remains more than just a gesture of sympathy, but it underscores the importance of interfaith dialogues and ecumenism, particularly in the face of ongoing challenges, and in a more extensive sense, sends a strong message of unity and hope to the communities served by both the Presbyterian Church and the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Buea.
Right, Reverend Mickey Hans Abia and the very Reverend Funky Samuel Foba, leaders of the PCC, came by. I think that is a good show of
no, not interreligious dialogue.
Ecumenism.
Exactly.
Ecumenism.
Yes, ecumenism.
That's interreligious. Yes.
Yes, it is a very wonderful one because, in the words of Reverend Dr. Njobara, who always comes on set for ecumenical programs.
Nelson.
Yes, Jobara Nelson. He lives here as a Baptist pastor, and he works as a chaplain in BHS. I went there, visited him someday too. He always mentions something that gone past are the days where we preach or we talk ecumenism. Now we leave it. You see, now we no longer talk here on set, but we leave it right there in the neighborhood, visiting one another, communing with one another.
Irrespective of what denomination you come from.
Irrespective of the denomination, we meet, and that is why I think we should praise our leaders of our various churches. Bishop Michael Bibi, the leader of the Catholic Church here in Buea, as well as the new moderator, Right Reverend Mickey Hans. I always interchange that Hans Mickey because my classmate's name was Hans in the seminary priest in Gabon. Okay, Right Reverend Mickey Hans and the very Reverend Funky Samuel for that gesture of coming to commune and to dialogue with the local ordinary of Buea, who was not around during the institution of the new moderator, but at least sent representatives that the Vicar General was there, and Father Cletus, who is in charge of ecumenism. For me, it's a very wonderful gesture to tell us that gone past are the days where we say, you are this, you are that. We start living the priestly prayer of Christ that we should be one as he has willed, although at various angles, not just as we have debated here about many of those things. And the key term, which for me I think captures this, is receptive ecumenism by this theologian Paul Murray. It is one of the recent contemporary theologians who have written on ecumenism to show that we enter into the dialogue not to look at the wrongs in the other, but we enter each as wounded in one way or the other, seeking to heal ourselves. That is receptive ecumenism, not pinpointing fingers, you are wrong, I am right, but engaging in this dialogue as people have been wounded, but see how to heal ourselves. So for me, it's very good that we see our leaders coming together to dialogue for the good of the church, both Presbyterian Church and the Catholic Church in this case. But ecumenism also
entails other denominations.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Father. Because of time, I would like us to now move on a very sad note. It's an unfortunate note, and which we are going to, of course, bear it the way it is. This week too, we lost a priest in the Diocese of Buea, Reverend Father Nicholas Happy, who was the chaplain at the Lady of Grace Shrine there in Mevio, Sassin. He passed on earlier this week, later part of this week on Thursday. And according to a communique from the Chancellery of the Diocese of Buea, he suffered from cancer, advanced stage of cancer, and was taken to the hospital in Douala. Unfortunately, he gave up, and the corpse is presently at the Mount Mary Hospital mortuary here in Buea. Now, let us take our tapes back. It is unfortunate, but we have to to hold our hearts and take you back to this report done for us by Matilda Bisson when the corps arrived late evening on Thursday, arrived at Mount Mary, where Christians, the Presbyterian, and equally family members came deposit the corpse. Let's have details.
The mortal remains of late Father Nicholas Happy arrived the Diocese of Buea this 4:35 p.m. at the Mount Mary mortuary, with Christians, family members, and the Presbyterian waiting to confirm his departure from this world. Upon receiving information of his demise, Father Jude Wanki, health coordinator of the Diocese of Buea, was dispatched by His Lordship Michael Bibi to Douala to convey the corpse back to the Diocese of Buea.
I was dispatched by the Chief Shepherd of the Diocese in my capacity as a health coordinator to go see that his mortal remains be brought from St. Padre Pio's Hospital in Douala, where he gave up the ghost, and bring it back to the diocese. So I left immediately with the serious traffic in Douala. We got to the hospital and we had a warm reception by the matron of the St. Padre Pio's Hospital, Reverend Sister Limunga, and we got the necessary effects, followed the required medical procedures each time someone dies, and were able to convey Father's mortal remains with the help of the diocesan heirs, braved through the traffic, and then we got back to Buea. And in communication with those on the spot, we all were able to gather at the Mount Mary Hospital mortuary, where presently they are doing the last procedures for his body to be kept.
Accompanying the convoy back to the Diocese of Buea was the Vicar for Clergy, Father Bartolomeo Anyanwu. The late priest's departure is another loss to the Presbyterian.
It's a painful reality, there's no doubt about that. We are going to miss him. Father Happy was the father in charge of the shrine. This is a shrine which we all know, which is famous, where people go to pray and people pilgrimages and so on. So we are definitely going to miss him as a Presbyterian, and also the Christians whom he has served so well will also miss him. The bishop will definitely miss him, all of us. So I think that that's the reality. It's a painful moment for all of us.
To Father Albert Egbeji, he has lost a brother with whom they came to the diocese as deacons and were eventually ordained priests.
That we lost him. Father Happy, we were together when I joined the diocese, and not only that, we were ordained deacon, two of us. That was 2015. Then 2016, we were there with other brothers who came and joined us. We were about 9 in numbers. And for the Diocese of Buea, we were 7 in number. We have been joining together. There is a saying which I normally, sometimes we crack joke, we call ourselves the door. The door. The door, it means we were looked to be as those who passed through the window to the diocese.
According to Catechist Charles of St. Andrew Parish, Muya, he has lost a brother who always encouraged him in his duty as a catechist.
Always give me advice as a catechist, how prudent I have to be, how I have to respect my priests and be obedient to my priests. I always told me it's only obedient who can make me enjoy my catechist work.
Father Nicholas Happy did his diaconal year in All Saints Parish, Mutengene. He was ordained priest for the Diocese of Buea on the 31st of March 2016. He first served at St. Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko from 2016 to 2019. He moved later on to Immaculate Conception Parish, Great Sopo from 2019 to 2021. He was later appointed to serve as chaplain of Our Lady of Grace Shrine, Mevio Sase, from 2019 to present. He equally served as military chaplain for the Diocese of Buea and chaplain of hospitals. May his gentle soul rest in the peace of Christ.
So, Father, it's a difficult moment for the Presbyterian, for the Christians of the Diocese of Buea. The corpse is still lying at the mortuary, pending further directives from the local ordinary and the family, of course. In this kind of situation, I know it's a difficult moment. Maybe just one or two words to the repose of the soul of Father Nicholas.
When things happen like this, is that we lack words to say. Remember, with that fateful day, we were here at the TV. I was studying here, and we left for the TV directly to the mortuary when we learned the corpse was arriving. I think this is the second time that me personally had to shed tears, because I rarely cry during funerals also. The first time was some time ago. I just found myself tears just coming out without knowing where it was coming from, and I had to wipe it. Our hearts are broken. All the Presbyterium of Buea, we are in tears, and it's a clarion call for us to see how to be ready at all times. We don't know the hour when the Son of Man will come knocking at our own doors as we keep preaching about other people's funerals. We should equally know we can go at any time, and that is why we should live in love, unity, and harmony with one another. All what we should say is, we say to the entire Presbyterian, our condolences too during this moment of pain, because it's not been long. We lost another. I don't even know what to say again. It's just for us to pray and invite the people of God equally to keep praying for him, for his peaceful repose of the soul, offering as many masses as we can, so that is the only thing we can do for him, so that he may rest in the bosom of the Lord. Losing a priest is very, very pathetic. Yes, we have lost him, but our faith in the resurrection equally is what holds us or consoles us, because where Christ the head has gone, we the body someday will go. That is the faith that keeps making us to believe and to hold on during these moments of grief and pain. So we say big extend our condolences to the immediate family of Father, the community where he worked at the shrine there in Sase, those who were working with him there, and equally all the priests and all those who came in contact with him where he worked or served throughout his ministry as a priest. We just say eternal rest grant unto him, and let perpetual light shine upon him, and may God be merciful in judging Father. That is all I can say, Bakojo. It's so pathetic. There's no good to speak a lot on
yes,
that.
Of course, I already feel that. So, well, those of you who are watching back home and you're Christians of the diocese, like you heard from Father, it's just important we keep praying for the repose of the soul of Reverend Father Nicholas Happy. I was watching on the last image there. I mean, that was one of the last moments we had to share together, that I was with him.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Yes, so of course it is what it is. So like I said earlier, the program will be communicated later by the diocese, and we pray that all of us will make our time to avail ourselves when the time comes, so that we send him to rest on the path that all of us definitely will take one day. Well, our time is almost up. Father, let's pick one story now, this time out of the church. Let us see what the Buea Council has been able to achieve within the last year. 72% increase in revenue collection. This is according to a revelation from the mayor of that council, David Mafani Namange, as they held an ordinary session, the first ordinary session for 2025, to review and adopt administrative management and store accounts for 2024. Nadeshme Nechung from our newsroom was at the Buea Council earlier this week when they had that session. Let's have details.
The executives of the Buea Council have gathered for the first ordinary session of the 2025 financial year, focusing on the examination and adoption of the administrative, management and store management account for the 2024 financial year. Present at the session was the mayor of Buea Municipality, who proudly announced that the status of the Buea Council has moved from Class 3 to Class 2. These improvements reflect an increase in the council's ranking, which is expected to positively impact the financial benefit of the staff amongst other areas.
I would say it was a better year because we had a budget of 2.9 billion for the year, and you remember that we had dropped from Class 2 to Class 3 because in 2022, in the year 2023, we could not meet up with recovery of at least 2 billion. And this year we went above 2 billion. Our rate is approximately 72%, the rate of realization of recovery, of revenue recovery.
The session was held under the supervision of the Senior Divisional Officer of FACO, Viang Mekala. During the session, councillors presented reports on various impactful projects carried out in 2024. These included the Sase Water Project, the production of birth certificates, and the Moki Garage Bridge project, all aimed at improving the lives of the people of Buea. The mayor also outlined how this project will not only benefit the community but also leave a lasting collective footprint on the sands of time.
Realize the construction of the Moki Garage Bridge, which is very important, and permit me on that note to thank the population of Buea that really showed their patience, even though some ran out of patience and insulted on social media, basically on things they did not know, and even on things they knew and some people misled them. They will say thank you for everything. And that wasn't all. We had some other water projects realized, and as I say, there's a lot beneath our sleeve. We equally started negotiations last year, and we constructed, using council decentralized funds, 78 more shops in the Buea Central Market. We always forget, accompanied our youths with a holiday job program that hundreds of them were employed, and some youth associations that had interquarter tournaments were equally supported.
Buea Council's improvement status from Class 3 to Class 2 reflect their successful project assessment, ending them recognition as one of the best performing councils.
Upon considering all the councils which are benefiting from POLO, were fortunate to be rated as one of the best and had an additional finance, an envelope of approximately 80 million again. You see, all of this will help us to realize many more projects. Permit me tell you that the projects that we're financing were not selected out of the blues. You people are very well informed because I know of what you do.
At the end of the session, the council's executives were praised by the Senior Divisional Officer for achieving a remarkable 72% revenue collection. This is a highly satisfactory result, especially when compared to other councils.
Now we are going to end this evening by talking some football sports. The Indomitable Lions of Cameroon now occupy the second position in the group as far as the 2026 FIFA World Cup is concerned, and we know that they are behind, just a point behind Cape Verde. This follows a 3-1 impressive victory over the Mediterranean Knights of Libya. That match took place on Tuesday in Yaoundé at the Madou Ahidjo Stadium, counting for day 6 of the FIFA 2026 qualifiers. Now, here in Buea, the atmosphere was electrified with the goals that were scored by Captain Vincent Abubakar and Brian Buemo. Let us have Hilarion Clinton, who watched the football match in Buea, and then compile this report.
Passionate about football and patriotic to their fatherland, fans gathered at different spots to be entertained by the brilliant skills of Captain Vincent Abubakar and his teammates. As they fed their eyes with the Belgian tactician's formation, Vincent Abubakar opened the scorebook for Cameroon via a penalty. The 90 minutes of play leaves Cameroon grabbing 3 goals, with Vincent Abubakar recording a brace and Brian Bomo of Brentford with 1 to his name. Cameroonians are satisfied with its victory.
That was very, very good. So I appreciate the Lions, the way they played the match. We played physically and tactically, even though we had a small slight error that we have the match, but I appreciate that we have the 3 points. Football is something that either we lost or we win, but we're happy that we won the match. So the 3 points is very, very good to us.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very impressed that our team, the Cameroonian team, they have done it well. They have done it in a very, very good manner. They played well, and at the end, we won. The team of Libya.
Successful match day 6 for the Indomitable Lions in their struggle for a spot in FIFA 2026. However, fans of the Lions voice more is expected from Mark Breeze, who now have a record of 10 games with the 5-time AFCON winner, yet no defeat.
Mark Breeze has to work with his opponents, that with his attackers. The attackers, they are very, very weak. They need to improve on their talent, on how to score goal far from the 18 box. Yeah, they have that tendency of always going towards the goalpost to score, but no, that is not like that. Football nowadays, you have to score from the 18 line. That is, you have to. The defenders have to supply you the goals, and you have to score from the 18 lines in order for us to win the match.
In McBreeze, at least he needs to work more harder and harder. Since he came, he have never lost any match, so we appreciate it. We appreciate him for the coach that he has been doing. So we need just to work together, and we're going to go more and more.
Cameroon is presently launched in the second position in their group with 12 points. Their next FIFA outing will be in September against the King Shields of Eswatini.
Right. I mean, last week we drew with Eswatini. This week we are beating Libya. We are in the second position. I'm sure you enjoyed the match too, right?
Yes, it was so wonderful. You know, we know when Real Madrid is playing, the way there is noise in Moliko. You know, I'm the Moliko Presbytery that is rowdy. I think that day also it was the same scenario.
Okay.
It was so wonderful because everybody has given up in the sense that you cannot win that team that would even know the name of that country. You are hearing, so some people are hearing the name for that country for the first time. Then we will come and win Libya. That we know the name. So some people will watch that match with some sort of reluctance. You know, we never knew if we win. So it was a pleasant surprise for us all to have that big victory. Thanks to Abubakar Vincent with his 2 goals and Bemo, who plays in Brentford, a very good striker too, with his left leg. I think it was so wonderful. Just to say that they should keep on going like that. Not that if they go and lose one, then they'll say if this team should lose, that other one draws, then we'll qualify. That's always the case with Cameroon.
You just have to win on a clean slate.
Just be winning and be going. What stops us from winning as other teams are winning? So just to give them the go ahead and say that we are behind them, that they should make us proud.
Okay, Father, you like football like all of us do?
Of course, I'm a footballer myself.
All right, so maybe some other time we'll make our time to talk on this because time is not our friend today. Thank you, Father, for coming this evening.
Okay, the pleasure is mine. Happy weekend to you too. Bakujud Monyo.
Right. So those of you who watched back home, thank you for watching. We didn't have so much time to bring you more stories, but we trust that next week we'll be here again for another edition. Have a blessed night. Up next is Issues, and after Issues, we're going to be having this week's edition of DMR TV Debate. You don't want to miss it. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.